What's going on, you guys? Frost here, and I'm back with another guide. This time I'll be telling you guys how I play Kha'zix jungle. If you find this guide helpful in any way, please do remember to click that like button, as this will help me get this guide out there to more people. Also, if anything changes that will affect this guide, there will be an update in the description. The following subjects will be mentioned in this guide: champion description, abilities, leveling order, runes, masteries, the item build, and the jungle strategy. If you want to go to a specific subject, you can click on it right now. Champion description. Kha'zix is an AD assassin. His kit allows him to kill targets that are singled out extremely fast, and with the reset mechanic he has, this becomes very deadly. Also, with the built-in heal, he can clear his jungle without getting too low. The main downside about Kha'zix is that his damage becomes significantly lower if he doesn't hit an isolated target. But you can work around this by picking good opportunities to go in when they're splitting off in teamfights. If you like a champion that is very mobile with high damage and resets, then Kha'zix is definitely the champion for you. Kha'zix's abilities. His passive, Unseen Threat. Kha'zix gains Unseen Threat when the enemy loses sight of him, causing his next basic attack against an enemy champion to deal bonus magic damage and slow them by 25% for 2 seconds. His first ability, Taste Their Fear. Passively, Kha'zix marks all visible enemies who aren't accompanied by any of their allies nearby as isolated. Upon using this ability, Kha'zix slashes the target enemy, dealing physical damage increased by 30% against isolated targets. When evolving this skill, Kha'zix gains 50 bonus range on his basic attacks and Taste Their Fear, which also deals bonus damage to isolated targets. This is Kha'zix's main damaging skill. With some AD, one of these on an isolated target can deal half someone's health in damage. His second ability, Void Spike. Kha'zix fires a cluster of spikes in a line that detonate upon hitting an enemy, slowing all enemies in a small area by 20% for 2 seconds. This ability deals physical damage, increased by 20% against monsters. When evolving this skill, Void Spike fires 3 clusters in a cone, slowing by 50% and granting sight of enemy champions hit for 2 seconds. Multiple explosions do not deal extra damage to the same target or provide Kha'zix with additional healing. This skill is very useful to catch up to people or stick with them. It also helps you with sustaining your health when clearing the jungle. His third ability, Leap. Kha'zix leaps to the target location, dealing physical damage to nearby enemies upon landing. When evolving the skill, Leap gains range and its cooldown is reset upon enemy champion takedowns. His fourth ability, Void Assault. Passively, each rank in Void Assault allows Kha'zix to evolve one of his abilities, granting it additional effects. Kha'zix enters stealth for 1 second, acquiring Unseen Threat, gaining 40% movement speed and ghosting while stealth. After 2 seconds of leaving stealth and for the next 15 seconds, Void Assault can be cast a second time at no additional cost. Upon evolving this skill, it can be cast a total of 3 times and each instance grants 2 seconds of stealth. You can use the skill to juke damage from your enemies. You can also use the skill to chase them down or to get more damage off by getting your passive back. Leveling these abilities. On level 1 you want to start with your Q because this has the lowest cooldown, the least mana cost and the most damage output. Then on level 2 you want to get your W for the extra damage plus the heal. And on level 3 you want to get your E for the mobility and also the extra clear speed because it will help you cut through walls in the jungle. As far as maxing goes, you want to max your Q first because this is your main damaging skill. And for this reason you also evolve it first. Then you max your W second because it's the biggest damage increase for the points you put into it. Also, you heal more the higher the level of this skill is. But the second evolve will be your E because this will allow you to start resetting and become a serious threat. Then you max your E last because apart from evolving it, it doesn't really need points in the skill, you mainly use it for the mobility. And of course you level your R whenever possible. Now for the last evolve, I much prefer going for W instead of R, but this is really down to your playstyle and what you prefer. The runes. I go for 9 flat AD marks, 6 flat armor seals, 3 scaling armor seals, 6 flat CDR glyphs, 3 scaling MR glyphs, and 3 flat AD quints. I go for the flat AD to increase the early clear speed by quite a lot, plus the amount of damage he will deal early on with his Q. Then I take 6 flat armor seals because this is pretty much all you need to survive early on, and for that reason I filled the rest with scaling armor. Then I take 5% cooldown reduction just to help me get my skills back up faster, and I filled the rest with scaling MR to give me that little bit of extra tankiness later on in the game. Now you can potentially go with armor pen marks and quints. This will help you deal more damage later on in the game, but I honestly prefer the extra bit of power on Kha'zix earlier in the game. The Masteries. I go for 12, 18, 0 on Kha'zix. In the Ferocity tree I take the increased spell damage because, well, that's how Kha'zix does most of his damage. Then I'll take Double-Edged Sword for the extra bit of damage increase. I take Sustain over the other one because every little bit of sustain helps you when you're a melee AD assassin. And I take Bounty Hunter because Kha'zix has no problem at all killing everybody from the enemy team at least once. Then in the Cunning tree I take the increased damage to minions and monsters for a faster clear. Then I take Assassinate for more overall damage. I take the increased damage against targets below 40% health this just simply helps you burst people down easier. And then the dangerous game for the extra bit of sustain when you're jumping around resetting on people. Then this is where you can do a few different things. I personally prefer going for the armor pen into the Thunderlord's Decree to help me burst people down. But you can also pick Storm Raiders because this will help you stick to people no problem. It pretty much means they cannot get away from you. And 30% of a champion's max health is pretty much just 1 Q. The item build. There is really only one item build you should get on Kha'zix, but this build has quite a lot of variables for different situations. You want to start off with a Hunter's Talisman and a refillable potion. Because Kha'zix has his build and sustain, you are free to go for a refillable potion as you won't need the extra health that a triple health potion would offer you. And the health potions later on in the game can be very useful. Now, after your initial clear, you want to go back and buy the Stalker's upgrade to your jungle item if you didn't manage to do that in the full clear, or you got cut off, then you just get Hunter's Machete in order to not lose out on experience. At this point, you want to get yourself a pair of regular boots to help you roam the map faster, and then finish your jungle item off with a warrior enchant. After this, you want to upgrade your boots into one of two things. Lately, I've been going for boots of swiftness on Kha'zix, mainly because of the Frost Queen item with a ghost that slows you immensely. If you go for swiftness boots, then you won't feel this as much, but if the enemy doesn't have this item, then I simply go for CDR boots. After you finish your boots, you want to build into a Ghost Blade. This item is great on Kha'zix. It gives you a massive damage increase because of the raw AD in combination with the armor pen. Plus it also offers you CDR, which is really helpful. Now lately what I've been doing is building a Death's Dance right after I finish my Ghost Blade. It offers you a lot of lifesteal because it instantly heals you for 15% of all physical damage dealt. And that is a lot of damage on Kha'zix. But it also helps you in taking more damage because it will make 15% of the damage that the enemy deals to you a bleed proc, meaning damage over time. After finishing Death's Dance, I'll usually go for a Hydra. There are a few reasons for this. 1, it will take the amount of lifesteal you have to a ridiculous level. And 2, it will help you get the isolation onto the target if you're standing in a minion wave. And as a final item, you can do a few things. You can build Sterex to be a bit more tanky and harder to burst down. You can also build a Mercurial Scimitar to give you a bit more tankiness, but mainly the good damage increase and the ability to remove hard CC. Or you can build a GA if you want to go really deep and get away with more stuff. Personally, I prefer going for the Scimitar, but if you do this, then you really need to be on top of using it effectively. This will also mean that you have 3 active items. The jungle strategy. In the background right now you can see the jungle routes for both sides of the map. Do take note that the jungle routes I use here are mainly to help you level up to that level 6 as efficiently as possible. Kha'zix is able to just full clear his jungle in one rotation. Also, if you are doing it this way, then going for the Hunter's Machete will be slightly faster. But if you're just going for a full clear, then you should get the Talisman. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about ganking and teamfighting with Kha'zix. Ganking with Kha'zix is actually pretty simple because regardless of how you gank, the enemy will at one point be isolated and you will be able to burst them down. Meaning that even if you don't get the kill, this will leave them forced to go back and that will give your laner a very easy time to get ahead. As far as teamfighting goes, you pretty much just want to stay off to the side a little bit and wait for your team to engage, or for one of the enemy carries to make a mistake and walk into your isolation range. You never ever want to just dive in first as Kha'zix because this will always result in you getting killed instantly. And as a final thing, Kha'zix's isolation damage allows him to clear objectives like Baron and Herald very quickly, so make sure you make use of that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it or learned anything from it, please do remember to click that like button right below this video as this helps me get this video out there. If you would like to see more guides like this, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!